And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, roger, planet.
Water towers fly! Yes!
Echo down to nominal.
Flight downside FD off. Bring in FD off. Off. It's orange!
145! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage.
What do you think?
Put that in the big bag, you know.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
The methane would be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You dead? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
The start of a very fun Sunday, because this is going to the International Space Station, a very important mission in its own right, but it is the pre-game show to the big game in town, which is the Starship launch later on today. But we're not going to ignore this one, because it is an important mission. It's going from Slick 40 on a Falcon 9 with its cargo dragon. No, they messed up the cargo dragon bit there. But to talk about this mission, we have a lot of help. First of all, in the background, we've got Kevin Michael reproducing, assisted by Carson. And we've also got on commentary, Alex. Hello, Alex.
Hello, Chris. How's it going?
It's going splendidly. This is a very strange time of day for us both, but there we go, because you're thinking, oh, it's a very good time for Europeans. Unfortunately, we're all American time zones these days, so that's how it works.
Yep.
It's kind of weird, yep. But also out in the field, we have Julia. Hello, Julia.
Why, hello there, Chris. I am out in the field here at Kennedy Space Center press site, and yeah, it's kind of interesting being an American amongst the Europeans tonight, but happy pregame to Starship.
Indeed, and we're also joined by Jerry. I don't know if Jerry talks on these streams, so I'm going to just talk a little bit and see if he unmutes, and if he doesn't, I'll know he's mainly focused on the visuals, but there we go. Jerry is out there, so at least I've mentioned him. That's the main thing. You know the routine by now. It's the same as every stream we do. If you've got any questions, do at NASA Spaceflight or at NSF in chat, followed by your question, press your return key. It goes into our wonderful panel, and our panel is something we click on and then answer the questions. I did notice, though, before we even started the stream, we had some support, and I want to make sure I thank those people because they were doing it, probably not thinking they're going to get a shout out. Well, I'm going to give you a shout out. Here we go. We've got someone with Chinese symbols, so I'm not going to even try and pronounce that, but became a PadRap member. Welcome. The Cosmic Nebula. First, technically second, but I'll let you have that because it was 4 hours ago. Very much appreciate your support. Mike Olson became a PadRap member, and Rick V became a Launch Director member, which is one of our highest levels, so that's very much appreciated. I'll tell you what, Alex, what we'll do now, let's give a little preview on what this mission's about then, shall we?
Yeah, so this is the CRS-33 mission. This is the 33rd operational flight of Dragon, the cargo Dragon, going to the International Space Station, carrying supplies. What? Okay,
breaking news.
First of all, that caught me by surprise. That is a current view at where the ISS is right now. The International Space Station is currently somewhere west of Australia. Probably around the same time that we want Ship 37 to end up tomorrow. But yeah, so right now that's where the ISS is. It's going to take another 54 minutes until we actually get a launch of Falcon 9 with the CRS-33 mission, carrying around 5,000 pounds of cargo to the ISS. It's, in metric, that will be 2,300 kilograms to the ISS. And they're carrying lots of different experiments and whatnot. But I'm really interested about the thing that is on the trunk on this mission, because this Dragon mission is special. It is specially modified to carry a boost kit, as they call it. So the trunk on this mission carries extra propellant tanks, an extra pressurization tank, and 2 Draco thrusters. And it's going to be used to reboost the station to be able to save a little bit of propellant from the Progress spacecraft. We probably will talk a bit more in detail about why do they need to save that propellant. But yeah, it's part of this process of them trying out a little bit of new stuff, and that'll help them be able to develop the United States deorbit vehicle, essentially the deorbit vehicle that it's going to be used by NASA to deorbit the ISS in about 5 years or so from now. But yeah, this is more or less what the mission is all about. Of course, Falcon 9 will be doing its own things well as usual. The first stage will be returning back to a drone ship. The second stage will be inserting Dragon into orbit. The usual stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that when they did the presser, which is what we call it in the media language, where they do a press conference and basically where the media ask the officials questions, they were talking about this reboost capability. I did see a question about from 9/8 Central, will this mission raise the orbit of the ISS? If so, what thrusters will be used? Alex, if I remember Ryan Caton's wonderful scripting of some of the most pertinent answers, they have the capability, but they're not planning to raise the ISS via Dragon on this mission. Is that right?
They are absolutely planning, yeah. So it's the other way around. It carries this boost kit precisely because, okay, so I'm gonna tell the whole story. At one point, they want to deorbit the ISS, and what they want to do is keep a lot of propellant on the Russian side of the ISS. And Progress is the one that carries that propellant up, and then it is loaded on this Vesta module, which is the one that has the engines. I think the Sari module, one of the other Russian modules, also has a little bit of propellant storage capabilities, and they can transfer that to Zvezda, but primarily Zvezda. And in order to do that, they need to reserve the propellant on those Progresses or Progressi. What will be the word? So to conserve the propellant on those Progress, so they can then load that propellant into the modules, they are instead using Dragon for reboosts, and they're going to be performing a few reboosts over a span of a few months. It's in fact going to be the longest cargo mission, for Dragon up on the ISS. Is going to be staying up until December. So it's going to be a very long cargo mission for Dragon, and it's going to stay up there reboosting the station for a few months. That's going to let them save some of that propellant on the Russian side to help later on, many years down the line, to be able to deorbit the ISS along with the US deorbit vehicle.
I will say I've got an excuse for misreading Ryan's notes, which I obviously misread. It's because Jared Isaacman, who is very active in replies and liking our post on X, bless him, because he's a great guy. He actually he replied saying more powerful dragons. He supports more powerful dragons, and it really is a case of more powerful dragons because of the capability that's providing. And let's face it, the biggest thing about orbit changes is the end of the ISS timeline, because they are planning to deorbit the ISS via a Dragon. That's still the case. It was a while ago it was mentioned, Alex. So I wonder if that is still the case, that when the ISS is deorbited, Dragon's going to be doing the pushing.
Yeah, SpaceX has the contract for that. They're going to be using what is called a US deorbit vehicle, which is in essence a modified version of Dragon. So it's going to still have the capsule for Cargo Dragon, but instead of having their usual trunk, they're going to have a sort of more like a service module. It's not even going to be like the reboost kit, because for this mission, they mentioned that the only thing that they did to the trunk was just adding some structural supports for the boost kit, and also have an extra line of communications so that they can get telemetry and all that from that. But when they actually fly the US deorbit vehicle, they're going to have a whole new version of the trunk, which is a proper service module, if you will, right? Just like, I don't know, like Apollo, like Orion and things like that, right? Where it actually has a service module which is integral, and it's with propellant tanks and whatnot. And it's going to carry many more Draco thrusters than just 2. I think some of the renders showed up to 30 of them. That's going to be crazy. But yeah, that's the whole point. Eventually, that'll be the job of Dragon, modified Dragon, and that's what they're going to be doing to deorbit the ISS, along with some of the Russian segment propulsion and everything, which is why they want to save some of that propellant now.
Also, the fun thing about these missions is it involves yet again the Falcon 9 booster returning, which I know people think is routine, but it still is something I have to emphasize is absolutely magical when you consider that most rocket companies tend to have historically thrown away their first stage into the ocean, a single use of their booster, and some companies still do that, but no, not SpaceX and not Falcon 9. So a question for Julia, where is this booster planning to land?
Well, Chris, this booster is going to land on a shortfall of Gravitas. So basically, a drone ship that is a little postage stamp out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and it will be stationed to the northeast, the same trajectory that the rocket is taking tonight.
Awesome. And Alex, we can expand a little bit more on the RTLS landings, which is not the case in this mission, but it is a question that is being brought up in chat because with LZ-1 now pretty much handed over by SpaceX and they're using LZ-2, why is this mission not landing return to launch site?
Well, Dragon missions already usually push a little bit the performance of Falcon 9 when it comes to returning back to the launch site. They, in order for them to actually do those with Dragon 2, because Dragon 2 is a lot heavier than the original Dragon 1, but it was already there sort of in the edge of the performance to be able to do an RTLS. And so what they did, it was this sort of optimize return to launch site profile where they do a one single engine entry burn to save propellant, and then they do like a 1-3-1 landing burn. They do all sorts of fancy stuff to be able to do that. But in this mission in particular, because it carries that boost trunk, it's a lot heavier, right? It carries more propellant. It carries also like fluids for pressurization and whatnot. So unfortunately, it is not able to return back to the launch site because the payload that it's carrying is a lot heavier. Even though we usually talk about the payload as in, the cargo inside Dragon, Dragon itself also goes into orbit. It's quite a heavy spacecraft. It's something like 10 tons, right? So you have to add onto that the cargo inside the spacecraft, but also the boost trunk. So that's going to be quite a lot.
I'm fascinated. This is not even a question in chat. I'm asking a question. So there's a question from Chris, Alex, here, who asks, hi NSF, long-time fan, first-time question. Slick 40, it fascinates me, the turnaround of this pad. The amount of launches they can get off this pad is still magical to me. I really have tried to get my head around how they turn around this pad for launches with the cadence they've had for it. Have they done something special in your information, shall we say, to allow this capability where they can launch, the transport erector goes back, they stick another rocket on it, it'll launch again. It just seems like something that seems to be sped up compared to what I'm used to with launch pads.
Probably a lot of protections to sensitive hardware, and also just like, for example, airplanes and things like that, where you just do minimal inspections and then every X number of flights, then you do a more thorough inspection. We see that at each of the pads every now and then, like every 20 flights or something like that, which will be like every 2 or 3 months. There's like one turnaround in particular that it's slightly longer than usual, right? And that's like, well, they must be doing something to the pad, right? And we usually notice that when those turnarounds between missions are a little bit more longer than we expect, essentially. And yeah, for Slick 40, for example, they usually like to take January to do those changes and upgrades and more thorough inspections and maintenance and whatnot. We saw that earlier in the year. For Slick 4 East in Vandenberg, they seem to like more like July, August timeframe. They recently had quite a gap in launches around the July 4th holiday at Vandenberg. So yeah, it's what we seem to see from them, that that's how they treat it essentially.
Very good. CM has become a Padrat member. Welcome. That means your name will be in green now, and you'll get access to our member streams as well. Multi-member stream goes to all member levels. No ranking involved there, so especially tomorrow you'll really enjoy that because of Starship launch. I say today, if it depends on where you are in the world, of course. Sunday. let's just say Sunday. There we go. That's probably the safest bet. You'll get access to the member multi-screen madness, as I call it, where you get literally all the cameras we're using, but in like a production screen. You get them all at the same time in like 9 boxes, I think. I can't remember, Kevin, what it is. 9 boxes, something like that. But it's rotates across, so you get more than 9. It's like all the camera angles. It's like you can pretend to be your own little producer. It's really cool. Anyway, I do have a question here for Julia. The Cargo Dragon capsule, does it get recovered like the Crew Dragon?
Yes, indeed it does. Just like the first stage, Cargo Dragon is reusable. So it will be recovered once it departs the space station by Shannon. And that is located actually on the West Coast. We used to do recovery as our options either on the East Coast or West Coast of Florida, but all of those operations have now moved over to the California coast. And so we've bid those ships kind of adieu over here, but Shannon will be the recovery vehicle when the next Dragon comes back. And yeah, it's a pretty cool operation, and it'll be interesting to see this one get reused with its upgraded capabilities.
Yeah, we're very excited indeed. Kay Green asks, when they move Starship crewed missions to Starship crewed missions, will they use a tower to catch the ship, landing legs, or build a parachute system for water landings? So that's really a Starship question, but I like how you kind of like segued it from the water landings we see with capsules for Dragons. Alex, what do you think?
Oh boy, that's so far away. They might try catching with a tower. Like you could think that maybe having that same system that they use for cargo missions, for just like Dragon. You have Cargo Dragon and Crew Dragon. Crew Dragon doesn't land differently than the Cargo Dragon, right? Why would it? It still lands on 4 parachutes, 2 drogue chutes, right? It gets recovered by the same recovery vessel, as Julie just said. So why would you do that with a ship, with the Starship, right? Yeah, sure, landing legs, but maybe the landing legs are less reliable because they have not been as flown as a catch system, for example. So you could argue that, but again, that's so far down the line, and yeah, we're in really fiction situation right now until that actually happens. But yeah,
it's a long while away, but it's something that's probably going to happen soon-ish, in the bigger picture. And I find that fascinating because it's going to be incredible when we see that. I think when the first one occurred, I mean, we're potentially going to get ship catches next year, I would say, with the Block 3s. I mean, obviously, we wanted it this year, but with Block 2's issues, everything's been kind of pushed back a little bit to the right. But it's something we can look forward to. I almost leaked, Alex, that we do have a patch idea that involves the view of a ship catch, but I'm not going to say too much more. Before I leak, I get into trouble for it. I did see B1062 asking whose camera we're looking through right now. Well, we have Jerry out there, and we have Julia out there, and we have our own cameras at all launches. That's why we do dedicated launches, because we like to do launches where we've got our own cameras there. That's why we don't do the Vandenberg launches, because the only view we'd get, because they don't have any media accreditation at the launch site, would be from miles away on the mountains. And you know what the foggy Vandenberg's like. Even SpaceX's pad cameras get fogged out. So it's just impossible to do that. But with NASA launches like this, we can work with NASA because we are accredited media to get clean feeds and things like this. So this is pretty much a really cool mission to cover because we've got these options here with the closer cameras in tandem with our own cameras as well. I'm sure there's a better technical answer for that, but that's my version of it. I'm going to take this one. How many flights on this Dragon, Alex? Paul Harvey's asking.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention. We just heard on the countdown that they are go for propellant load. So that's great news. Yeah. So this Dragon has already flown twice to the ISS. This is its third flight. It's not a regular visitor, if you will. Some of the other capsules have a lot more flights on them. But yeah, this one is C211. Unfortunately, they don't put any names to these cargo dragons. The crew dragons do get names, but the cargo dragons just stay with their serial numbers. This one is C211, which stands for capsule, then the 2 for Dragon 2, and then 11 because it's the 11th that was built, the 11th capsule for Dragon 2.
Excellent. And I was going to say, there's a whole host of information on the next spaceflight page, because I'm going to link it into chat right now. I do have a request, Alex, that you may want to pass on to the good folk of next spaceflight. Tim W says, if you're in charge of next spaceflight, please put events back on. I don't want to miss spacewalks. Thank you.
It's there.
Okay, that's very good. Very good.
If you are on the website, you just gotta scroll. Instead of being on the tab above, it's just down. It's just one scroll, at least on my own screen. I don't know. On the app, it's been a while since I've used it, so I don't know if that referred to the app though. But yeah, I haven't had any time to look at my phone. I'm gonna be honest.
People don't want to scroll. That's the way it works with phones, though. You're definitely going to be scrolling with a phone. I tend to use desktop most of the time. James got something from the store. Let's have a look. A Starship TPS stainless steel water bottle. Awesome. Thanks for my Starship 32-ounce water bottle. And so, as my 7 prints, space prints from the store. And keychain. You've been busy, James. Thank you for your support. That's amazing. Also a great way of supporting us, because that's the way you will also get some cool stuff in return for your support. We are looking at a timeline. The timeline is, what, 2 minutes till proper load now?
Yep.
Tanks are venting for the start of propellant load.
And there's the call out for the start of propellant load in 2 minutes.
Launch director
So
on
at 2 minutes.
Stand by for abort instructions.
Okay.
For non-urgent no-go conditions, brief the C and LD, then approve aborting the countdown. For urgent issues affecting the safety of the operation, operators shall call hold on the countdown net. Launch control will abort the launch auto sequence immediately and proceed in the launch abort auto sequence. At T-minus 10 seconds, launch control will be hands-off and relying on automated abort criteria for the remainder of the count.
This is good news. This is just in case of anything happening. So right now they have approved the propellant load to proceed, right? And what the launch director is telling the other folks on the launch control center is, okay, now from here on, if something happens, you got to do this. And so he's giving the instructions. It is not telling them that there's a problem, but rather what to do if there were a problem. So everybody calm down. This is actually good news. This is what we should expect. So as we were saying, they are just now about to start the propellant load in about 50 seconds from now. It'll start with both propellants on the first stage with RP1 and liquid oxygen on both stages. On the first stage, excuse me. Ooh boy, on the 2 tanks on the first stage, and then RP1 load on the second stage at the same time will also begin. And so we're gonna get 3 of the 4 tanks starting to get loaded on Falcon 9 in 27 seconds. So there we go.
Awesome. And thanks to Carson in the background for introducing me to something called the volume slider. So now I can hear them make the call outs. And I guarantee you, if I hear any of the NASA or SpaceX people talking, it'd be the SpaceX people, of course, because it's a launch, I will immediately stop talking mid-sentence.
Yeah, the thing about these launches is we already know more or less when these happen. So just a few seconds, we should hear one.
The launch auto sequence has started.
There we go. That's a call out indicating that the propellant load has begun.
That's amazing, Alex. That's amazing.
It's always on the same times. So it's just, muscle memory.
Seriously, I mean, it's rare actually commentating on a launch like this. Normally, it's I'm the person just in the background watching the stream with the rest of you and doing the Bandicam clips of the launch and whatever you put on X. So it's kind of like amazing just to see Alex there go 8 seconds and they're going to make another call. And I was like, really? And then bang on 8 seconds. I'm like, what? That's amazing. It's crazy. More support, by the way. I genuinely was impressed by that. Bideford one of our absolute regular supporters. Even to the point, Bideford has her own chatbot command, which I'm going to do, actually. I'm going to type it in chat. I've gone mad with power. Gone mad with power. There we go. Has said, good evening or good morning, depending where you are, for this awesome launch. Just love a dragon, whether it be crew or cargo. Thank you for the coverage. Well, thank you, Bideford, for your support, because that's what helps us provide this coverage. The Cosmic Nebula. Second, go Falcon, go Dragon, go SpaceX and NASA. Nicely said. Nice use of your super chat, by the way. Flippers79MGL. It's gifted 5 Red Team memberships. And Rick Horseman. I keep calling him Rick Horseman. It's Rick RC Horseman. Great having more streams and more launches. Thanks, NSF. And they're part of our team, those two Flippers and RC Horseman. Wow, it's amazing. Alex, this is a tough one, but I'm going to ask it anyway. John Cook asks, what is SpaceX's record for launches in a 24-hour period?
Ooh, 3 hours. 3 hours. Excuse me. The other way around. 3 launches. 3 launches in less than 24 hours. Yeah, they've been able to do that. For 4 launches, we're looking at something like a day and a half. And that includes Starship, of course, because there's only 3 Falcon 9 pads. So if there's a 4th launch, it's obviously including Starship. But yeah, right now that's the record. They have done, I think, in something like 13 hours, 3 launches with Falcon 9. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, we have a question queue with several next spaceflight references, which is completely fine because we are kind of like encompassing them now. Keith Tegg says, still available on the Android app, a short scroll on the home tab, and that's related to the events section. So thank you. I think that's what Alex was telling you. Also, Jacob asks, I cannot find trajectory on my launch of this launch in my next spaceflight app. Why? ? Do you see it on yours, Alex?
Let me take a look.
I will say it's all good feedback, by the way. I'm absolutely got no problem at all reading those questions out and see if we can find an answer for you. And if it's not right, we can definitely know the right people to ask to sort it out. So that's a good thing to ask.
Seems like it doesn't have it. I'll check it out. It does have the northeast trajectory. Sort of there's like this little neat thing. If the trajectory graphic does not work or it's not uploaded or something, sometimes you can still use the fact that it might be going in a certain direction. So we still add that information, which sometimes does work more reliably because we've been working on that for a longer time. And things that we have been working for a longer time, it's been tried out more often, right? And so yeah. So for example, I'm looking at it right now and it says launching northeast. It shows the little graphic telling you which way it's going. Yeah, but it doesn't have the actual trajectory and everything. We'll work on that.
We'll work on that. But again, that's what we're here for. We're here to take all the questions and queries, and I'm absolutely fine with answering those as well. I do know that we're constantly modifying things. Sorry, Alex.
And Chris, any feedback, it's actually good to be able to improve the app, the website, whatever you use the next space flight, whatever device or anything. That feedback goes back to our developers and everything, and so we can work on improving it.
Yeah, I get emails from people apologizing, saying, I'm sorry to bring this up, but is it possible you could do this, that, and the other with the NSF site? And I'm like, hey, don't be sorry. I'm all for, feedback, and definitely, but you're the people we're serving. So it's our responsibility to try and get the best products possible. I say products, I mean by sites and apps and things like that, to you, because you are the people who are consuming what we're providing. So never apologize. I'm always for feedback. You don't want a numpty like me making up decisions, do you? No. Nick B, thank you for your support, by the way. Appreciate what you do at NSF. Nobody does it as well. We've always got room to improve. I'm never one who's going to say, oh, we're the best site possible. We're the best. We're awesome. I'm not that kind of person. I'm always thinking, you should never think you've got the best possible done. You should always be striving towards it, because that way you're always trying to improve things rather than rest on your laurels. The second you rest on your laurels is where you fall behind. So we never want to be that way. So I appreciate the message, but we're always looking to strive to go forward. It's a very important thing to mention. Fun to have Chris on the stream with us. Oh, thank you. I've got a fan. Looking forward to tomorrow's marathon, indeed. And that was a question, by the way, from Cassio King asking, will there be a stream for Flight 10? Ooh, Alex, do you reckon we've got time to stream
Oh, we
Starship
forgot.
Flight 10?
Yeah. Well, I guess next time.
Yeah, well, you know what? We could ping a few people. We could ask some people if they want to commentate on it. We could send some people out to Starbase and maybe film it. Oh yes, we're definitely covering Flight 10. We're covering Flight 10 bonkers level. We have a massive team already out there, and in fact, I think Daz might have just arrived. But we've got a lot of team out there. Nibble's asking, what's Flight 10? Yeah, it's one of our biggest things we do. And yes, we'll be definitely covering that from a stakeout stream onwards. There you go. It's on the screen right now. We start very early. I think 9 hours before launch. Is it, Alex? I can't remember the timelines, but it's many, many hours before launch on the stakeout. And then we go into the launch stream about 3 hours before launch.
Yeah, 9 hours before launch on the stakeout. And then 6 hours later at T-3 hours, we'll be going live with the dedicated launch stream. We do the stakeouts because it's less active time, but it's still pre-launch. We hang out, we chat with people, we sort of take it more relaxed. We don't even have face cams or anything. We have usually a more wider team of commentators. But then when it's time for the launch, closer to the launch, that's when game on.
Indeed. Oh, look at this, Frosty Falcon 9. That's cool. And actually, a very good question in relation to that. Emir asks, how does the Falcon 9... it's a tongue twister. How does the Falcon 9 fueling procedure work? Why does it have a particular order?
Well, they like to start the first stage because the second stage... So both I'm going to rewind a little bit here. Both stages use... subcooled propellants. That means instead of having the liquid oxygen at boiling point, at boiling temperature, it's actually colder than that, and that allows them to be able to pack more of it because it's denser in the same volume of tanks. And the thing is, the second stage is usually the one that is more constrained. That's the one because it's going into orbit, and it's a one-to-one relationship in terms of the mass that you're carrying. So if you load the liquid oxygen on the second stage, the last thing on your timeline, it's gonna be the coldest, right? Which means you can load more of it. So you're loading more of it, and therefore you can use it more, and have more performance. And so that's the way why, for example, they start first with the first stage. It's also the largest part of the rocket as well. It's largest tanks and everything, so it takes longer to fill that. Whereas the second stage is a lot smaller and everything, so it can be loaded later, which helps with, as I said, with the subcooling, but also with the fact that it's smaller, doesn't need as long to be able to be loaded.
As we're watching this Falcon 9 drink its propellant ahead of launch, I think we should talk about this booster. Julia, have you got some history on this booster, what it's been up to in its lifetime?
I do have some history on this booster, and compared to others in the fleet, it's kind of a young booster. This will be its 7th flight, and as we said, being recovered on a shortfall of Gravitas out in the Atlantic. It started its career with the O3B mPOWER 7 and 8 mission. It also flew Crew 10, Bandwagon 3, O3B mPOWER 9 and 10, and 2 Starlink missions. And all of those missions were from Florida because once upon a time, we actually did share boosters with Vandenberg, and they'd kind of go back and forth across the U.S. And now each area kind of has its own little fleet of boosters.
Very nice. And also, while I've got you, Julia, what's the weather like? Because it's Florida, it's ever changeable.
You know what? I am wearing my long sleeve crew gear tonight, not because it's cold, but because I was thinking along the lines of mosquitoes. But it's a lovely 77 degrees here. The winds are very light. According to my app, it says it's only 7 miles per hour, which is actually very refreshing out here tonight. Guys, I can see stars. It is a new moon tonight, which means it is dark. And that also means that we should see a beautiful tail of that Falcon going downrange. So all in all, I don't see anything except for some distant heat lightning, but that shouldn't be an issue for this launch.
Very good. We do have lots of more next spaceflight questions. One of them is quite interesting. How did you guys make next spaceflight? Well, it was Michael Baylor who started next spaceflight off, and of course he developed it, and then he went off. He's with NSF as well. Then he went off with SpaceX, and rather than next spaceflight, a very valuable app and website and resource going just down, we said we'll take it over. So that's what we've taken over. But we didn't make it. It was Michael Baylor who made it. So I hope that helps a little bit. I don't know about Michael's history on the whole start of the app, because I'm sure he might have had some help from other people, but that's my knowledge of it, at least. Then we've got also, what's your favourite space movies? Oh, you know what? That's not fun. We'll take it up to the T-minus 20-minute event. We've got 3 minutes until that. I do like movies, so I'm definitely going to mention it. Alex, what's your favourite space movie?
I'm gonna say Contact, just because it's probably not super duper realistic, but in terms of emotions and whatnot and all that lame stuff for some people, right? I'm a lame person, so I like the emotional stuff. I like it. So yeah, I like the movie.
Yeah, I'd say The Martian for me, because the realism is in that one. Cassio King said. In fact, join in chat. Let us know your favourite one. Interstellar, I didn't like it when it first came out. Yeah, I didn't like it when it first came out, but I've watched it several times since, and I really enjoy it now. And I think they did the robots really well. Armageddon was great if you want to turn your brain off.
See,
it's
It's
Armageddon.
like one of my favorite movies, and filmed kind of out here too. So hush now.
They got so much access, Julie, you wouldn't believe. I've heard stories from shuttle engineers in the OPFs that when Bruce Willis was filming the scene with Bear, one of the characters, inside the OPF, it was Endeavour inside there, the real shuttle Endeavour inside there during the filming of that scene. And after they filmed the scene, Bruce Willis got too close to the TPS and was going to touch it, and one of the shuttle engineers literally had him against the wall over it. It's a true well, I don't know if it's a true story, but that's what I was told by the shuttle engineer. I was just imagining Bruce Willis's face, like, I'm a Hollywood movie star, don't push me against the wall.
Can I defend another space movie? Because the thing with Armageddon, it released on the same year as Deep Impact.
Yeah.
I think it's Deep Impact. Yes. I prefer Deep Impact over Armageddon. Fight me. There you go.
The problem with Armageddon is, as a shuttle fan, I just couldn't get my head around the fact that the RS-25Ds were still firing despite the external tank being jettisoned. I was like, where are they getting those propellant from? It's really annoying. Anyway, I'm just literally just kind of like padding a little bit because we're 1 minute away from the best event, which is the T-minus 20-minute event. I will quickly mention that First Man was also pretty decent as well, as I've just seen in chat. Mars Attacks, I don't think that would get in my top 10. That was silly, although Tom Jones was in it, and that was quite cool. And people are agreeing with you, Alex. Deep Impact was better. Also. Yeah? Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. But I'm a bit of a movie buff, but I like my sci-fi quite well, so I'm onto my Star Treks and what have you. T-minus 20-minute event, Alex. Should we talk about what this T-minus 20-minute event's all about?
Yeah, it's just about to happen, and they are, as you can see, they are on the timeline. It's very neat because on the timeline, the way that it is sort of set up is the immediate event after Log's chill down, which is right now happening there, is stage 2 liquid oxygen load begins. And that is it's not a coincidence, right? Because this is precisely the preparation for that liquid oxygen load beginning on the second stage in about 4 minutes from now. They're chilling down that Stromback, getting ready for that liquid oxygen load. It's a very cold liquid. It's like minus 200 degrees Celsius. I think it's minus 330 Fahrenheit. So it's very, very cold, and therefore they need that preparation to be able to get that. But we can take it down, Kevin. There we go. Thank you, because it's already happening.
Very good. And while Alex was giving that answer, I'm quickly taking the screenshots. I can put on X, saying T-minus 20-minute event. I'm going to send it and post it, and that's done. There we go. Multitasking is not my favourite thing to do in the world. I do have more questions about the pads. I mean, again, why did SpaceX? I mean, we pretty much know the answer, but for the benefit of those who don't, we always expect Dragon missions, be it crew or cargo, to go from 39A. What was SpaceX's thinking in modifying Slick 40 so that it could be capable to do Dragon missions?
I mean, I could give you the really short, sweet, simple answer to that if you'd like.
Go as long as you like, Julia.
We do need to protect our access to space, specifically the International Space Station, but also space in general, to get our national security missions out there when needed. And sometimes that's needed in a quick hurry. So they did this so that they'd have an alternate pad should something happen at 39A. And as we all know, we're going to be greeting a Starship pad at 39A in the pretty near future, actually. Our last flyover showed a lot of activity out there. So we may not have a Starship this year, but I bet we'll have a Starship next year. And we just want to make sure, just in case, that we have a pad that is available for crew access.
I think there's also another layer to this, which is like they've launched CRS missions from Pad 40, even with a new tower and everything. Like CRS-30 was actually the first cargo Dragon mission from Slick 40 that used the tower and the crew access arm and everything. But then 31 and 32 happened from 39A, and now with 33, they're coming back from Slick 40, and I'm mostly sure that was probably what was in Gabriel's mind when it was like, but why? Why not from 39A? Well, if you've watched our streams recently, from 39A, they had the launch of the X-37B, and I'm mostly sure probably the U.S. Space Force maybe wanted them to launch from there. It's probably very ironic from the fact that, you know, Slick 40, it's actually at the Space Force station, right? Whereas 39A is at the Kennedy Space Center, NASA property. It's a lot different in terms of, you know, the access and everything that you get to these different places. So it's rather interesting that, you know, they decided that way, but that's how it turned out to be.
Absolutely. And I do have a couple more sci-fi questions before I move on to the relevant questions of CRS, but these are two that caught me out. Sean Yoda, who we know, original Star Trek or Next Generation? Next Generation, hands down. Although I will give the original Star Trek the best line said in a Star Trek series, which is where William Shatner goes, risk is our business.
Stage 2, LOX load has started.
Sorry, SpaceX. Yeah. Risk is our business. Risk is why we're aboard her. It's an amazing speech about risk. I just thought that was a great line in that original series. But I go Next Generation every single time. And Cyward says it's not a space movie, but the core has a shuttle in it. That was where Endeavour landed in Los Angeles. That was a very silly movie.
That's how they got Endeavour to the California Science Center.
It was, yeah. They landed under bridges. Oh dear. Right, Alex. Jennifer wants to know, why does SpaceX paint the Falcon 9 first stages white when they get dirty? Why not paint them dark grey?
It's also part of the protection of the aluminum lithium alloy that they build these tanks out of. The paint protects, and then the suit goes on top of the paint, so it's still protecting, right? Because it's sort of like a layer on top of it, rather than, you know, stripping the paint off. So yeah, they still paint them because it protects also the structure of the vehicle. So it's always, you know, doesn't hurt to add it.
Indeed, T-minus 15 minutes. Remember, this is an instantaneous launch window to the ISS. So this either continues to count all the way to 0, engines fire up and launch, or it's a scrub automatically. Because, well, it will be anyway because it's propellant loading, but it's an instantaneous window. There's no like, oh, we've got a 4-hour window. If there was like a delay earlier on, we'd be just waiting until they got to the point where they would go for propellant load. This is going now in 14 minutes, or it's not. Simple as that. Mr. Karmatas, I butchered your name, I'm sorry, apologies for that. So, if you like The Martian, you'd be hyped for Hail Mary. Absolutely. I am so looking forward to that movie. And Andy Weir book, which was fantastic, and they've made it into a movie. I think they're just basically in post-production now, so that's gonna be fascinating to watch. I really am looking forward to that. Mike Alpha Tango Sierra asks, since it's a cargo Dragon, does it still have an escape system? Or is it like a Crew Dragon, like the Crew Dragon has? Alex, what's the... I mean, could it pad a bot, and why would it need to, if that was the case as well? What's the differences between the escape systems on a Crew and Cargo Dragon?
No escape system on the Dragon, on the Dragon missions. It's not even equipped with those Super Draco motors. But what they did add when they went through the issue on CRS-7 back in the days of the Dragon 1, what they did add to the code was to be able to allow for the parachutes to deploy if they sense that they have separated from the trunk and everything, and like they are in free fall and everything. So in theory, if something were to happen and the Dragon capsule stays intact, then they might be able to recover it.
Very good. I do believe Kevin Michael Reed is going to show a video, and if Kevin is thinking now, just play it and I will stop talking.
I think first is about the ISS, because you were talking about how it's an instantaneous launch window for this one. I think that's the third thing that he wanted us to show. There we go. So that's the location of the ISS. It's about to cross Central America and then overfly Florida. At the time of launch, it will actually not be over Florida. It will be a little bit further downrange. This is sort of the position that NASA is predicting the ISS to be at the time of liftoff. And at the time of orbital insertion for Dragon, then it'll be a little bit, of course, because it's 8.5 minutes after, so it's going to be further down its orbit, and so it's going to be sort of North Atlantic off the coast of Ireland, more or less. So that's where the ISS should be in hopefully 20 minutes from now, after the launch happens.
That reminds me of Shuttle. I finally get to mention Shuttle in an actual question, an actual relevant question as well, rather than just randomly bring it up. But the Space Shuttle program, they had a 4-minute ISS launch window. And that 4 minutes, they always target the middle of it. So they had less of that window to launch within. But there were a couple of occasions later on in the flights of Shuttle where they held at a time where they were limited on how long they could hold before they scrubbed. One of them was 2 seconds. It was STS-133 with Discovery. And they literally had 2 seconds remaining in the whole time. They called it drain back hold. 2 seconds remaining. And they launched late in the plane, they call it. Late in the plane. And that means all the calls came later and what have you. And it was a very, very sporty launch, that one. But that was impressive. I will, on a Shuttle Sunday, I won't wait till we get to STS-133 because that's many months away. But I will, on a Shuttle Sunday, bring it up because it's a fascinating insight into the professionalism of the controllers. They were rushing to get through to their clearing from NTD, they called it, NASA Test Director, to release the hold. And once they released the hold, they said, we have 2 seconds of drain back hold remaining. And that's how he said it on the comms. He goes, 2 seconds. 2 seconds. So it's a great stressful thing. But yeah, this is a different case with the Dragon. They're going to launch within 10 minutes and 50 seconds. Oh, they won't be launching. The Cosmic Nebula, forgot to say, go NSF. How are you guys getting mission control comms from SpaceX or NASA are live? Or before even. Yeah, we're getting a clean feed. We're getting clean communications coming through. So obviously that is how we're working it. The trick is when you hear it in your ear to stop talking. And that's not easy, but we'll try our best not to talk over the communications as they're coming through because that's more important than us talking. Nibbles wants a dedicated Shuttle Sunday, by the way.
By the way, I don't know if you've noticed that we're showing now that boost trunk, that boost kit, I guess, is the actual name that SpaceX has installed on this Dragon capsule.
It's quite interesting, isn't it? Oh, here we go.
There is 1 pressurization tank and 6 propellant tanks, and then attached to those is a 2 Draco thrusters. Although I don't see them on this view from SpaceX, but this is probably in the middle of outfitting that. But yeah, that's the look of that reboost.
Yeah, I'm going to go back in time, Alex, a little bit with the early Dragon missions with the trunks and the hardware they had inside there, and that they'd use the SSMRS and the dextry arm on the ISS to pull the payloads out of the Dragon trunk whilst it was birthed. I think that was mainly during the birth time, wasn't it? Back in the olden days of Dragons, before they changed to this Dragon. But I'm glad they're using the trunk for something, because I've seen, am I correct in thinking that quite a lot of the CRS missions have had empty trunks?
Most of them have carried cargo in them, but it's been usually bulky cargo and things like that. Others have been pretty much empty.
Very good. We're going to go back to that reboost, by the way. Gabriel GG, a lot of people wouldn't have been on from the start of the stream, so it's fine to repeat this, but how high will the ISS get reboosted after Dragon pushes it on this mission?
It's not a single reboost that they're doing, it's multiple reboosts. It's just replacing progress for about 4 months. So instead of having progress doing the reboost that they do normally, it's going to be Dragon. So it's not going to be just one single reboost. It's got about 10 meters per second of reboost capability, which essentially translates in just a couple of kilometers of reboosting capability, which is fine and enough for the 4 months that it's going to stay up there.
Very good. I think Kevin's going to show us some goodies on screen right now. Let's have a look, see what Kevin's going to show us.
There's the CRS-33 launch, but Chris, do you know of any other launch happening soon?
Well, New Shepard might be going on Sunday because they delayed on Saturday, so we might get a New Shepard launch on Sunday. But also Flight 10 of Starship, the big, most powerful rocket in the world ever. There we go. We have released the Flight 10 patch, and we've all said, and I was so glad chat went crazy when we released it on the Rollout and Full Stack stream, that they love it as well. We think it's the best patch we've done so far. It's great because it's also a double meaning if you think about it. It's a phoenix from the flames. Remember, Ship 36 was originally going to fly on Starship Flight 10, but went boom at masses. Oh my God. That's what happened with Ship 36 during its ill-fated static fire attempt at masses. So they replaced it with Ship 37. So Phoenix from the Flames, it kind of works for both the ships, both Ship 36 and 37. Jax, I always pronounce wrong because people think I mean Jack Mayer. No, I mean Jax did the design for this, and he's been doing a fantastic design work for us, and no exception expected here. This is in the store right now. Oh, sorry, SpaceX, engine chill has started. But there we go. There is a patch for Flight 10. It's in our store, and it's awesome. Lovely. You'll be seeing more of that during the Starship streams that we've got coming up in the not too distant future. Also, here we got, I was reading out Nibble's question. That's what I was looking for. Can we have a shuttle Sunday dedicated to the difference between Armageddon and Deep Impact? I don't think we can do a shuttle Sunday for that, but I do know that myself and Ryan Webber have been pushing the idea between ourselves of the occasional spare Sunday night or something where we do a sci-fi show on our Discord member streams. Maybe we'd do something like that because it'd be kind of fun just to talk sci-fi. We do like our sci-fi. I know Armageddon and Deep Impact are more like disaster movies than sci-fi, but yes, we'd definitely like to do something. Maybe not a short Sunday.
Stage 1 RP1 load is complete.
Oh, I heard that coming. I was very careful to be quiet. So 6 minutes to go, Alex. Engine chill. Yep. What's that about?
Same deal as the chill down of the Stromback. They do this sort of flow of liquid oxygen through the pumps on the Merlin engines to be able to cool them down ahead of liftoff. One other thing that we heard is that RP1 load on the first stage wrapping up, so that means both RP1 tanks are closed out and just needs to get those liquid oxygen tanks on the first and second stages. Up next should also be the Stromback retract, as you can see there on the countdown. They also prepare Dragon to enter on internal power and terminal count and everything. So all of these final preparations also with Dragon, because remember, it's not just Falcon 9, they're carrying a Dragon. So that also has its own computers, guidance systems, etc., etc. So those also need to be prepared for flight.
Very good. So we're 5 minutes to launch. Julia, I've always been fascinated by this. Because I was mentioning earlier about how routine...
Stromback retract.
Thank you, Stromback retract.
Count and is on internal power.
Oh, internal power as well. Thank you. I'm very careful not to talk over them. So, Julia, I was always fascinated. T-minus 5 minutes to go to launch, and these are routine launches now. Let's face it, Falcon 9 is launching left, right, and centre. Do you still see people coming out in decent crowds to watch these launches? I know it's not like the shuttle days where you have like 100,000 people down across in the outside exclusion zone, shall we say? Oh, they're very chatty right now. But Julia, do people still come out in numbers to watch these launches?
Oh my goodness, absolutely yes. The last launch we had was an RTLS, and those tend to pull even more people, but locals were out in force on the coast of US 1 for that launch. Tonight's launch, well, I'm at the press site. I can't say for sure. It's kind of a really late hour, so locals will be just being woken up from their dreams, probably, or stepping out in their backyards. But yes, absolutely, especially on the weekends. And folks will drive over from Orlando because it is a great thing to share with our tourists as well. So, yeah, maybe not quite as big as shuttle days. Crew missions pull more, but yep, it's still a thing. It's kind of like our Friday night lights around here.
Awesome. Alex is telling me there's another call coming in 10 seconds' time. Let's see if Alex is right.
There
So
should be one.
3:20.
Yeah.
I'm not
Either
gonna talk.
for stage 1 LUX load complete or for the Dragon preparations in Orbital. But there's usually one around this time precisely because right now they are closing out those loads of liquid oxygen on the first and second stages. So one of the next one callouts should be that liquid oxygen load on the first stage being wrapped up. After that, we'll have also the second stage liquid oxygen load being wrapped up as well. We'll have the comeback of that Stromback action with the vents and the closeouts and everything. So yeah, we'll see a
Stage
very
1 LUX
active.
load is complete.
There we go. That's
There it
a
is.
little bit later than I expected, but it's okay. It's still within nominal times, I guess. But yeah, we'll go down to T-1 minute, and that's when both Falcon 9 and Dragon will enter startup. They'll take over control of the countdown from the ground computers, and that'll be when they also do a lot of checkouts and everything. The tanks will pressurize for flight. Dragon will be fully on internal power and ready for flight. Flight termination system will be armed. All of these, internal processes. It's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that we don't even get to see, but they have all of their monitors and all of the little blinky lights, I guess.
Stage 2 LUX load is complete.
There we go. We have a
Oh,
fully loaded rocket.
You timed that well, Alex. You timed that really well. It's like you've done these before.
I have.
You have,
Dragon
indeed,
is
yes.
auto idle.
There we go. That's the call out for auto idle. That means the computers are aligned with the guidance computers.
Awesome. And at this point, I'm going to hand over to Alex with the call outs while I bandicam the clip for Rex. There we go. So Alex will take over now for the launch part and give you descent milestones along with the communications from SpaceX Mission Control.
Yeah, in just a few seconds from now, we should have that startup sequence on Falcon 9 and Dragon. So let's stand by for that call out.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
Dragon is in countdown.
There we go. That is confirmation that Falcon 9 has taken over control of the countdown. And things are now getting ready for flight. Should be hearing now
Launch
to go
director,
for launch.
go for launch.
And there it is. Let's go. Go for launch. I bet everybody in chat is ready to go and also go for launch. We are go for launch here at NSF. 31 seconds
30 seconds
to launch here. We're probably going to have that audio, so I may not do any more commentary from here on. So I'll let you enjoy the dulcet tones of the launch director doing all the countdown and everything.
T-minus 15 seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition, and liftoff. Go Falcon, go Dragon.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
M1D chamber pressure is nominal.
Falcon 9 is supersonic. Max Q.
I'm back, chill.
Well, that was quite the crackle. It seems like Falcon 9 is now heading downrange and up into space. 1 minute 46 seconds into flight. Everything looking good. That was so amazing with that crackle sound and everything. But right now, it seems like we are already in MVAC engine chill. That MVAC engine on the second stage getting ready for ignition. In just a few seconds from now, we should see all 9 Merlin engines on the first stage shutting down. That's main engine cutoff, or MECO.
Falcon 9 is on a nominal trajectory.
There we go. Really good call outs there. And we should then see stage separation and MVAC ignition. So stay tuned for that. There's MECO.
Stage separation confirmed.
Good stage separation.
I'm back, startup.
And now MVAC ignition. There we go. That looks like a view from the ground. From Jerry, probably. Maybe the back channel may correct me on that one. But this seems like it's hand tracked, so it's probably from Jerry. That's so... Look at that. That's so cool. The expansion of the exhaust as Falcon 9, that second stage MVAC engine, hits into space, pushing Dragon into orbit. So right now we just saw that stage separation. The first stage will be flipping. It's already deployed its grid fins. It's flipping now to do the entry in about 2.5 minutes from now. It's in that coast phase currently. And that you see right there is a view of where the ISS, the International Space Station, the target for this mission is currently right now. It's sort of like off the coast of northeast Canada, I guess. On the northern
still remember the dulcet tones of Rob Navis during the space shuttle missions, where he would go, "Atlantis, now in pursuit of the ISS," because the ISS would pass over first. The ISS would pass over 39A, and then the space shuttle would launch from it, and it would be in pursuit.
Yeah, they play catch up.
Yep. That was a loud one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it peaked. Our microphones were like, that's too loud. So sorry, folks, but sometimes rockets can be unexpectedly louder. Sometimes we try to get those microphones set up and everything. Every now and then there's one that is louder. You can hear that from our people in the field. Sometimes they're like, "Wow, this one is loud." Like all rockets are loud.
Now, of course, we've still got the booster to return. It's got its entry burn to come up first, then the landing burn, then a landing, and we're going to get Dragon separation. A quick one from Sukno, who asks, which port will this Dragon be docking at?
It'll be docking to the forward port on the ISS. That'll be tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. I believe that will be 11:30 UTC. Tomorrow as in Monday, not Sunday, because we're already on Sunday. But yeah, August 25th. About 28 hours after launch. But still 3 more minutes on this burn of the MVAC engine to get that Dragon up into orbit. Meanwhile, the second stage, as you can see there on the telemetry down below, it's already coming back down and booking. It's 7,000 kilometers per hour.
Indeed. A very poignant question from Johnny in chat asking, what happened to the stubby nozzle?
For this mission is not ideal. You need all the performance because this Dragon is a lot heavier. It's carrying that boost trunk, right? That boost kit on the trunk with extra propellant tanks and Draco thrusters to be able to push the ISS. So yeah.
We've just not seen much of it, Alex. I mean, we had that first view of the stubby nozzle. We all got very excited. I'm sure everyone will agree it is an awesome looking nozzle. I know a lot of people don't like it, but we've hardly ever seen it all that much. I don't think they really use it all that much. All that much at all, do they, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, the majority of the missions, like Starlink, they want to take as much performance out of the rocket as they can to carry as many satellites as they can to orbit. And there's also lots of other flights as well where they do that as well. So it's very rare. It's just missions where they have plenty of performance to do that. So it's not that common.
Indeed. Booster time, entry burn coming up.
Yep, should be coming up on that. Telemetry showing that, but there we go. Ooh, hey.
Bright.
Yeah. That camera was not expecting that light. But yeah, for those that may be used to those return to launch site landings for crew or cargo dragons, this one is not. This is sort of the exception, because again, it's a heavier Dragon this time around. It's carrying those extra propellant tanks and everything to reboost the ISS, and so
Both vehicles
that
remain
means
on nominal trajectories.
that means the booster cannot return to land. So it's doing a drone ship landing. But look at that.
Grid fins.
Yeah, the waffles.
Waffle makers. And you can see on the telemetry the speed, the velocity is 3,500 mph. Is it using kph? I can't remember which one they're using.
That's kilometers per hour, yeah.
Yeah, it's strange not using mph.
Bit more international with the kilometers per hour. I know Blue Origin likes their miles and feet and everything, but doesn't help for international audiences. So I guess SpaceX prefers that.
9 kilometers to go. 8 kilometers to go.
Stage 2 is internal guidance.
That's good news. Means the second stage is preparing for fine guidance to be able to get into orbit.
Stage 2
Gets
STS
it
has saved.
more accurate. First stage landing burn seems to have started already. And there we go with the views. Under 1 kilometer, there we can see the deck of the drone ship at Shortfall of Gravitas. The grid fins wiggling there as it comes back down. And that looks like a good landing to me.
And back shutdown.
Nominal orbit insertion.
And speaking of shutdowns and things like that, we have MVAC shutdown. Dragon is in orbit and should be separating in less than a minute from now. Ain't that great when things work the way they should?
Yeah, I always reply sometimes on my clipped tweets or X posts. You know, I'll never get bored of the landings. I will never get bored of them. I think they're absolutely amazing. And a big shout out to Lars Blackmore, who now works on the Starship program, by the way, who was very much deeply involved with the design of this return of the booster. Absolute amazing work, and he's English.
Did they deploy the zip lines?
Oh, yes.
Pat 40. They probably got deployed accidentally, if I'm guessing.
That's a bit odd.
Yeah.
So now we're just waiting for Dragon separation on its path towards the ISS.
Yeah, unlike the early Dragon missions, now it happens a little bit quicker. Should be happening 20 seconds from now, if the SpaceX website is to be believed. Sometimes this times change a little bit as real events happen, but yeah, it should be happening soon.
There's your 27,000 kph orbital velocity, altitude, pretty much bang on the money, 201 kilometers.
That's you can see how quickly it's going already. It's northeast. It's offshore of northeast Canada, and it's already sort of almost in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean after launch. 11 minutes.
That trajectory line looks like it's going over Yorkshire. A little bit south, but
go out your window and just wave. But there you can see where the ISS is in the meantime.
It's a bit south. Yeah, a bit too south for Yorkshire.
Yeah. But yeah, Dragon will be catching up as they play sort of orbital catch, I guess, over the next 28 hours.
Zoom in, Kevin, see if you can get York to pop up.
It seems like SpaceX confirms that they have separation of Dragon. Seems like they did not have any views of it, unfortunately, but they did have telemetry confirmation that Dragon has separated from the second stage. So that's another successful launch by Falcon 9.
Super. I noticed Kevin zooming only came up with leads. That's disappointing. Also, that's great. Just shows us the velocity of the ISS passing over. I always love seeing the ISS pass over. It's the speed of it is incredible, obviously, as you'd imagine, but just visually seeing it just gives you more context. Is it unusual we've not heard the call out? I didn't hear a call out noting separation.
Yeah, I did not hear it, but they did confirm it over the SpaceX, yeah.
Very good.
The SpaceX comms, yeah.
A quick thanks to CM, by the way. What exactly are those mysterious red rotor lights markings? Anyone know? Was that the pad with the lightning protection system beacons, maybe?
I have no idea what they mean.
I don't. CM, feel free to do an NSF in chat right now. Don't do a super chat. Just do a NSF or NAS spaceflight just to provide context, because it was before launch, so I may have missed a context there. And I'll make sure we'll try and answer it best we can. Ironically, XD9 does ask a question relating to lightning protection systems about Starbase. Why does Pad 1 and Pad 2 in Texas not have the 4 towers around them like they do at LISS launch pad? Alex?
Well, it's not as stormy out there. I mean, they do have storms, but it's not as bad as Florida.
Yes, the Florida tourism brochures do lie. Julia, do we have you back? It's a nice way to bring Julia back.
Yeah, you do have me back. And you're right. The tourism brochures show the best of Florida, but we have lots of gators and we have lots of lightning here. We are the lightning capital of the world. So those 4 towers or some sort of lightning protection system are very important. I do believe Dave Limp even showed a view of SpX-33 the other day, yesterday, with their lightning protection system being hit in these storms that we had kicked up from Aaron.
Yep. I like the gators, the swamp puppies, as Max calls them, the swamp puppies. Yeah, don't pat them. Don't pat them.
Yeah. As I was taking my setting up my camera, I kind of looked around and thought, wow, it's really dark out, and I don't know, but I'm really close to the swamp puppy pond right now. I didn't hear any swamp puppies at launch rumbling, so I think I'm good.
Awesome. I believe the nose cone is in motion. What's happening there, Alex? The nose cone, because it's obvious they're going to open the nose cone for ahead of docking, but they do it straight after separation, not like in the last part of the approach to the ISS. Is there a checkout reason so they know that the Dragon is in a good configuration for its eventual docking?
Yeah, there are 2 elements that are very important, and there we can see some onboard views from Dragon of the nose cone opening. The first important thing is that there are 4 extra Draco thrusters on the front of the vehicle, and those are the actual ones that are used for the bigger orbital burns, and like the bigger burns that are done in orbit are done with those 4 because they are better located and everything. And then the other important thing is that there's a lot of sensors in that front of the vehicle protected by that Nosecone that relate to, finding the ISS, being able to do all of those rendezvous maneuvers and everything. So it's something that it needs to be open rather quickly after getting into orbit.
I always like, in replies on my X feed, people who take photographs from various parts along the trajectory, not necessarily Florida, but North Carolina, places like South Carolina, places like that. Michael Oliver says was just barely able to see the second stage from Delaware. Was in clouds for most of the burn, but I got it last second. Thanks for the stream. Well, thank you for the comment. Delaware, that's way north, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite north. I mean,
yeah.
I've seen some people in chat sometimes saying places that are even further north, but Delaware is north. Yeah.
Awesome. Quick question about sightings, in fact, from the Pikachu squad. Great name. I have a friend who is having vacation in Cuba at the moment. His hotel seems to be on the north side of the island. Do you think he'll be able to see Starship flying over tomorrow or today?
Maybe. We'll see, right? They should try, as I always say. Try and see what happens. We'll see.
Yeah. By the way, replays are showing. This view we're looking at right now is from our Port Canaveral, hosted at Rusty's. Our original OG live stream camera, by the way, people talk about Starbase Live. We were talking about buying land in Starbase, which was crazy back in the day, and installing camera installations, whatever. They all started with our live streams, all started with the Port Canaveral camera. And it's still doing its business, not just tracking ships going in and out and boosters being lifted off barges and what have you. And I believe this is the other one, another Port Canaveral camera. Am I correct in saying?
Yeah, that's Fleet 2, I think it is.
Yeah, Fleet 2. You can see how bright it gets. I mean, again, I go back and mention shuttle because it's my thing. It always night launches would light up the sky, but it's amazing that the Falcon 9, a liquid engine, because the SRBs are very bright. People who went to see the SLS launch, for example, Artemis 1, will have noticed how the SRBs light up the sky. But just for the 9 Merlin 1 liquid engines, it really is bright. That's a great view. I stopped talking because I was literally just watching everyone in chat. Probably thinking, Chris, why you stopped talking? I'm like you. I'm watching the views. Go watching the videos.
And these two, so this one and the previous one were the feeds that were provided by NASA. Because this is the thing of these missions. We usually get these access thanks to their whole thing, with press access and all that. And so that is you can see the thing deploying. Hang on. That's funny. Can we go back?
That's gotta be accidental.
Yeah, it gets deployed by accident.
Let's go back and watch this, because I'll clip it as well, because it's kind of funny. So we get the launch.
You get the flash of light, but then the thing gets deployed. There it comes. There it's deploying.
What is going on there? Who exactly is escaping at that point in time?
Somebody let it loose or something.
Some pad worker going, I didn't know it was launching tonight. We joke, we don't want to hear any humans been anywhere close to this. That would not have been good for them. Escape lines or not. That is a fun thing about the emergency egress system, by the way. People think it's just for the astronauts. It's not just for the astronauts. It's also for pad crews. If you've got a vehicle on the pad and something's going wrong, like a leak, hypogolic leak or something like that, you want your pad crew off the pad just as fast as the astronauts in an event of an emergency. I've always liked this view as well, where you can see the NASA sign on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, left-hand side. Right-hand side. That's from the press site. which we have camera installations on. Thanks to NASA again. It's a wider view. You can see the glow there I was talking about there. It lights up the night sky. I'm bringing Julia back in. Julia, just because you're there all the time. What is it very noticeable, the difference between, say, SLS launching and shuttle launching with the SRBs than it is a Falcon 9, or are they just both very bright as it is?
They're both just very bright, but it's a different sort of very bright because SRBs just burn differently. So think a little bit more white bright than orange bright, if that makes sense.
It does.
But any night launch, in all honesty, I like to call them like our midnight sun. It turns dark into day for quite a few seconds.
2, 1,
Oh.
ignition, and liftoff. Go Falcon, go Dragon.
And liftoff. NASA's SpaceX's 33rd Commercial Resupply Services mission is on its way to the International Space Station.
You can see the slide even from this view.
Some poor person's going to have to put that back.
Yeah. Oh, this is from Jerry, so it probably can be seen here as well. Hang on. There it goes. That's fine.
Hey, at least it works. That's the main thing.
Yeah, it works.
It just makes me wonder, like, I wonder how flame-kissed that might be. Oh.
Some poor engineer probably left it loose and it just went down.
Didn't want to talk about that rumble. The rumble's far more interesting in my rambling. I didn't even think about that. It just came out. Amazing. Speaking of which, Mr. Fluffy asks, is Alex and Chris going to get any sleep over the next 18 hours? Well, I worked through the night. I didn't dare have a quick nap because I thought there's no way I'd wake up in time for this launch. So I'm going to get a few hours sleep in before I start the next stream. I'm literally starting the stakeout stream. Oh, my word. So that'll be fun. But that's going to be exciting. Let's face it. These are exciting times. It's a privilege to be able to talk about these things. So I'm looking forward to what will be our next stream, which is the start of our marathon coverage of Flight 10 for Starship, starting with the stakeout stream. You know where all the links are. You all know by now to check the channel menu. You'll see them there. And we're linking them in SPL and places like that. In fact, if you are a massive Starship fan who doesn't want to sleep at all, Starbase Live is live right now. But thank you to Alex. Thank you for being on the stream.
It's a pleasure as usual, and see you all on the stakeout and Starship launch stream.
Thank you to Julia, live from Florida.
Well, thank you, Chris. It's always a privilege to be able to join y'all from the press site and share this fabulous view.
Yeah, I'm getting the Oscars music. Oscars music, get off the stage. Thank you to Kevin Michael Reed for producing in the background. And thank you also to Jerry for providing that excellent tracking, by the way, of the launch, which was awesome. And thank you to Carson for being around, because Carson's awesome and he definitely deserves a shout out. So until the stakeout stream, let's see if my mouth will still work until the end of this live stream we're doing right now. Thank you for joining us and goodbye.
And here we go.
my god! Oh my god!
Décollage. Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go. And
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?